Reverend Akosia Asamoah Opuni is my guest today. This woman is originally from Ghana, and when you come to the state of Ohio, specifically Columbus, this woman and her husband have been one supportive engine to a lot of societal projects in the city of Columbus. From one charity to the other, each and every year. Despite this coronavirus challenges, they still, and she is leading this campaign, went out there to ensure that the African communities and even other nationals from different countries that do not even belong to Africa get their fair share of safety, care, and love. Reverend Akosia Asamoah Opuni. Nyankopon Shao.
Amen.
Reverend, now, Michelle Wejuma, especially during this pandemic time, name organization, support, being there for Ghanaians, being there for other African nationalities, being there for, the black community. Reverend, why would anybody want to, invest their time and their money in such a period to embark on such an agenda?
Well, because I am a Christian, our beliefs and everything we do, our way of life is inspired by the Bible, of course. And so the Bible tells us that we are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. And it says no one lights a candle and hides it, but is put on the hilltop so that it can shine for others to see. And we are the salt of the earth. If the salt loses its taste, So we want to be impactful. I think everybody in life was created to be impactful. What you're doing now is impactful, taking message out to the world. And so that is our little part we can do. Our little light we can shine where we are is to, once we know that God has blessed us, we want to also be a blessing to others, shining that light that the Lord has given to us. So that's what motivates us to do what we do. We're just inspired by the words of Christ to imitate after him, show the love of God, to others, yeah.
But were you not scared? Looking at, all the news we hear about this pandemic, were you not scared to, go out there, show love? Were you not scared at the point?
I mean, like once again, and I don't want to be like quoting the scriptures, but Jesus tells us we should not let our heart be troubled.
She's a reverend, so understand. Bible now.
I'm
sorry.
She's
a reverend. Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm quoting the Bible in per se, but it is literally my way of life. Even before I was a reverend, I mean, you have to be living that life for you to receive that title. You understand? You can't. Nobody just wakes up and the person is a reverend. You have to have a love for God, and there may be somebody who's not a reverend, and they could be doing what we're doing. So it's not even the title, but it's the way of life. It's taking the scriptures literally word for word, and because if we allow fear, there's always something happening. I'm sure that before the pandemic there was something else, with the shootings in the US here. Before the pandemic took over, there were shootings in the mall, shootings in the movie theaters. I know you've heard of them. Shootings in the schools. So, because of the pandemic, we are no longer gathering. We are inside, But before that, there was all sorts of chaos. You go to the mall and you hear shooting, you have to run. People were dying. So there's always going to be something for us to be afraid of in life. So we are not really driven by the fear. And the Lord tells us, in this world, do not be troubled, meaning there's trouble, but do not be troubled, because He said He has overcome the world. So we take the word of God, we're encouraged by it. We read it, we follow it because we need it. Like you said, we're in a world where it's very fearful. Even doing good for someone, someone can take your kindness and to your weakness. Come on, I'm sure you probably have an experience. You did good for someone and then they ended up right. Yeah. So that fear is there even if the pandemic was not there. There's always the fear of you reaching out to be a blessing to someone and them turning out and using it against you. So there are many fears.
How are you getting financial support? Because at a point, your organization, giving out 21 laptops to students, feeding. How are you financing this project?
Well, some of them was out of pocket. I think when we were talking to Reverend Ernest Okuni, my husband, though the one with that was our previous church where we met, and that's what the Lord had laid on his heart. So that one he was even doing before we married, and that one I knew he was doing out of his pocket, like the money he will work and earn, So the charitable, instinct was already in him, and naturally also I love to give as well. So when we got together, of course with Private Value Foundation, we were through also in partnership with the radio station, we were giving out, we're doing car seat awareness, and just giving out books, like the things that he said, which are all necessary. And then of course it grew larger and larger when we went into ministry, which is our church or ministry / ministry, Eternal Word Ministries. Now we monthly do donations in Ghana, and then also Nigeria even. We have 3 orphanages that we sponsor, and then also a rehabilitation center that we sponsor, and also there's a disabled community right by Kumasi Sports Stadium, that we also sponsor them. So we do that, and also Nigeria in the form of outreach, because when you're going to go share the word of Christ, if someone is hungry, you're not really willing to listen. So
Jesus had to feed
the
5,000 people whilst he was preaching.
Yeah, when they came for the word, and they were hungry, he said, you feed them. So we take the, and it's also a welcoming thing, it's a form of, okay, please, why are you here? And it's not even necessarily that, they have to give their life to Christ, especially even with the Nigerian one, we go more into the Muslim communities, to just give to them. Some of them, they will never convert, but at least we are sharing the love of Christ.
So most of these things are out of pocket.
I mean, yes. I mean, with the ministry, because we have by God's grace, a solid online ministry, and the offerings that come, of course, we use that to fund
it back to society.
Right. That so. I mean, our ministry is majorly centered on evangelism and outreach giving. So we do that monthly. So that one is we of course contribute to it, but if we also the offerings that come in, we add onto it, and also sometimes we pay for cancer treatments for people. Many of them we don't really announce. Yeah. So it's just. Many people find their joy in many things. Yeah.
Tell me something. These things come with its own challenges. Sometimes people are accused of money. Scan credit, sending some of these like false allegations. What are some of the challenges you have experienced? Managing this let's say, societal, developmental agenda, helping people and all that. What are some of the challenges you've gone through?
I think it has to do with mostly issue of trust.
Mm.
Um, I think by God's grace, we haven't faced those challenges where people are questioning our integrity or our intention. Because even before we were in the ministry, partnership with the ministry, and also even with the private insurance and even with the radio station, we were already doing these things out of our pockets already. So even before the ministry, we will take money and just send it to Ghana. Even right as of right now, there's a school, Kate school in Achimamponia,
In the
Ashanti region that we are actually constructing. When we went to Ghana, the whole roof was very, very bad, and I immediately I saw it. I spoke with the headmistress, and we're doing that. That one is coming out of pocket. It's not even the ministry that is taking care of it. So I think, if you won't believe me, believe the works. Jesus say. So I think there's an extensive amount of history of us giving out of pocket, and the intention for what we do. People genuinely know that this is what we really love to do. We love to give. Everybody has what they are called to do in life, and so when people see that, it makes it easy for them to come along and help. And so that's.
I'm a bit curious here. I didn't want to ask, but out of curiosity, let me ask. A monthly outreach, looking at all these projects, every month you're out there doing it, out of pocket, a little support from ministry and all that. Give me an estimate.
Oh no. Oh no. The ministry very much helps. I mean, we have members who, and we even have a partnership who we don't we tell them, we'll have people call us, we want to be part of it. We'll tell you, we're not going to call you or remind you every month. You have to, so they set their limit that they want to give, and then they do it themselves.
No, but you going out, definitely you have a budget.
We do. Oh yeah,
so,
of course.
So
I don't know if
estimates. So would you? No, if you don't want to share, it's okay.
Okay, but it's a huge amount.
Yeah,
it is. I don't want to make. It's a huge amount, even with the school that we are, because it's a whole. They have to literally pull some of the constructions down and redo it, and it varies. The reason why I can't give you a certain amount is varies. Yeah, every month it can become and then it can just really shoot up.
Okay.
And one thing is that I'm really grateful to God, and when the need for the work to come, strangely, miraculously, the help appears.
Wow.
Yes. And so because God has to initially put the thing on your heart, to do it. So the need, once the need appears, and if that's something that God wants you to do, He will provide for it. That is, I'm a firm believer in it. And and I always encourage people, like, if you want to start a dream, if you want to start something and you may not have the resources, because many times we do not have the resources to embark on the journey. We do not, many times.
But you still pull through.
And in the end, it's done. And many times we plan. Of course, we know this is our budget. We'll do it, but many times we don't, and that's where faith comes in. And when you live such a life, you depend solely on God. And that's why maybe people may find me quoting scriptures a lot. I have to, because
I understand. It's part of your life. So I understand. I'm having a conversation with Reverend Akosua Samoa Opuni, and she is a Ghanaian, an African as she calls herself, and She's a woman of God. When it comes to supporting humanity, when it comes to being there for the next person, whether you need help or not, she is the go-to person. She's been doing this for all these years, and just as she did say, most often it is out of pocket. And these are huge figures. I have some figures, but because she doesn't want to mention, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Reverend, Ufri Ghana. Unyiwe.
I was Minjini war Abuakwa. Tanaso Abuakwa. I'd say Tanaso.
In the eastern region?
No, in the Ashanti region.
Ashanti region.
So if we Tanaso, I'm now called Abuakwa. That's the one I was trying to.
Okay.
The one on Kwadaso.
It's Ashanti.
Yes.
Okay. May try finding out the connection why you are embarking on this thing in the United States and your background. Is there any connection? Say because it's not common for people to decide and listen, regardless whether pandemic or no pandemic, finance or no finance, this is what I want to do to help humanity. Is there a connection?
I think everyone imitates something. You have to see it to fall in love with it. One thing I would say, growing up, my father, he was much of a giver. I mean, he was known as a giver. My father would take, I remember, we'll go out with him and he would have a suitcase of money, and then he would just be giving it out, just giving it out, giving it out, and then we'll come home with like nothing. And so knowing my father he was literally always taking care of people. There were always people in our house, asking him for something. So it was just it was all I saw growing up, and even when he moved to the US, when he came, he was in the US mostly, and then he would come home, and when he would come home, that's when he would be given. I think back maybe 15, 20 years, during those days when somebody come back from home, how everybody comes. Then
it's a celebration of joy.
And then many people bring their problems, their sick children, and he was always being called on, to go and pay the bills for people and all of that. And he did it so joyously. He loved, even up to now, he still loved to give. I would send him something, and then I would know. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, I remember buying medicine for him, like those acetaminophen. Ghana called paracetamol, but here it's acetaminophen painkillers, and it's in a bottle, so it's like 365 pills, and he calls me monthly and said, "Asa," I'm saying, "Hey." So he said, "Well, one will come and I'll pour some for them." He's pouring it in a thing and then giving it to people. So that's growing up. That's what I saw. I was around a lot of givers. My uncle who I was living with was also a giver as well. So it was a way of life. When you have, you give. It's that simple. And naturally, it brings me joy. I don't find satisfaction, to be honest, in anything else than to just be a blessing to others. And I don't say that in any way, but even I realize that I wouldn't call myself a rich person. I just, whatever I have, I want to be able to, and that is the same thing with my husband, is that we want to be able to share with others. I think when you have that sense, when you have that understanding and revelation, because many a times we are waiting to be rich, we are waiting to have millions of dollars before we can be a blessing. And no, even if it's not monetary given, you can take your clothes, your shoes, give to someone, cook for someone, make a call for someone, speak well on behalf of someone. There are many ways to give. There are many ways to be a blessing.
Ghana, what should be a you know, with she entity our fame, school.
Oh, Trinidad. I went to St. Peter's
Okay.
Education Center. Then I went to Trinidad Kodia International Dabuakwa.
Okay.
And then I left and came here. So I came here when I was about 12, 13, 14.
Wow.
Yeah, came to New York. Yeah, I came very early. Yeah, 13, 14. Yeah, lived in New York, and I went there. I went to private school, Catholic school.
Okay.
In New York, and then we moved to Ohio, and I've been here since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. If you're given the chance to change one thing, you spent about 13 years in Ghana. With the little knowledge you acquire from Ghana, what you saw in Ghana, with you growing up from adolescent right up to adulthood, if you're given the chance to change something with all the things that you are doing here in America, in Nigeria, in Ghana, if there's one thing that you seek to change in Ghana, what will it be?
Man, that's a heavy question. It is. The treatment of children. I think every nation, it's defined by not necessarily its resources, though historically a nation is known for its resources, but the character of the nation, I think, is very, very important. The treatment of people who are in lesser position than us, it really shows what a country is. These are things that attain the blessings and the hand of God in our lives. So if that's something I would change, is that the nation's approach to children. The nation's approach to children. Yeah, I think it's US here. It's not so. It's a nation governed by laws, all right. But the law, the law itself, when you read it, it cares for the weak. It really cares. That's why everybody wants to come here. Everybody wants to come here. The whole Statue of Liberty is saying, liberally, come. You are weary. You are tired. Come. The whole idea of this country, naturally, and that's why God blesses it so much, though it has very many challenges, but it is the character of the nation in general. It cares for the weak, and and so that is the most, because many a time they'll say, oh, this country is rich and this country is rich in that. But what about the character of it? What I mean, I know that Ghana, there's a lot of churches and Muslims and all that, but what is our character? What are we known for besides the gold? And are we known for a country that cares for their children? Are we known for a country? You understand? Right. So that's what our approach to our treatment of children and also the weak. Yeah, that's it.
A lot of should I say, individuals, entities that embark on this charitable project, especially in Africa. Let me use Ghana for instance. A lot of them do talk about what the Nehemiah harbor issues. People have been calling on government that listen, it is time that some of these things you make it free. So how share your experience with me? Sending all these things to Ghana, how much you are paying, how it affects what the original plan is, and all that.
Yeah, that's something that we've definitely had challenges. That many times we've not been able to ship stuff because of that, and I think they probably don't have systems, in place to determine that this is just charitable items. Because people, if they say that charity was go free, then a lot of people will abuse it. It goes back to the character of the nation. A lot of people will abuse it. But we have countries that allow these things to go in for free because they can tell. So again, it all goes back to the character. They won't do it because they know somebody will take a Lamborghini and says he's going to give it to charity. So I wish, of course, daily. I mean, it's something that Reverend Opuni and I wish that it was easier um, to be able to go to that avenue and let it, at least the price of it. If there are systems there that can check history of giving, the being able to register the organization, knowing that this, and then having them also take pictures and show to you that the things that they took out they gave, so that next time if there was a system there like that, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah.
What would you want to tell the government?
Oh, wow. uh, well, again, our approach to the week, and our approach to the week, it's worrisome. Yeah, it could be better, I would say. If there's anything I would say to the government of Ghana is we need to revise our approach to the week, because as of now, the system is almost set up to take advantage of them, and it does not protect them. So if it's a constitution revise or something, but um, that is just my opinion. Our the way we treat the weak, the way we care for the weak, the way we treat our children, it will shock you. It will open up so much, because the US, there's so much sin, and there's so much they've even taken God out of this, but this country cares for the weak. Like our children, I can't just do anything. I cannot beat my child and she go to school with a red eye.
Trouble.
But the moment she enters school, within 1 hour, there'll be police here arresting us right away. By the time we explain ourselves that maybe the child fell and all that. So we are very careful the way we treat them, not because we love them, but also there is law in place, making sure that the vulnerable is well cared for. I know that since you've been here, you know that you can't just run over a bird. You can't. That when they are used, I don't know if you see the dogs. You see how long
you have to wait for them to cross.
Thank you.
You see a deer, you have to hold on, let them cross. So the protection of the weak from children,
the care for the weak, our approach is very, very important. And this country, the economy, I mean, the whole world economy is very terrible now, but the economy is so strong. And you're wondering, what somebody was saying in Ghana, well, how can I go to work if I have to wait? People are waiting here, and you understand. Some of these things, it's alarming. The rate of even child slavery still is very, very high in Ghana still. Abuse of kids, and without law to protect the children, protect the weak, it's very, very high. Some of these orphanages, they need to make sure here you can't just establish an orphanage. They will be constantly on you, making sure, and the kids are having to go to school, so the school is checking them. Even though our children have their own primary care pediatricians, they check their ears and their eyes. They will come with a note. We are going to check your child's ear and eyes to see how they're doing. But they already have one here, that. So, and I feel like if we do more of that, and it's not about, I'm a reverend, and I always say it's not about sitting in the churches and praying and fasting. And if we really, our character naturally begin to reflect that of Christ, who gave of himself, though the Bible says in Philippians chapter 2 that he was of the same equality with God, but gave of himself. He humbled himself, to the point of death to become you and I, so it's not about the church. It's not about constantly going to church Monday to Friday or fasting 100 days, those are great. But if you say Ghana is a Christian nation, but our character does not reflect it, that's the problem. I believe it can also hinder the nation's ability to be blessed. Yeah.
So our character is supposed to reflect the love and care for humanity.
Right.
Reverend,
Okay.
you have something else to say?
No.
Okay,
oh. Sorry. Okay, so of course, my husband, who you already interviewed, my dad, whom I love so much, Mr. Kwame Bronya, who I learned the act of giving from. I honor him so much. Love you, Daddy. My mom, of course, some of pastors, Prophet Achu Manasseh, God bless you. I don't want to go into pastor naming, but yeah, all the pastors, they know themselves. God bless you. And God bless you. Thank you for coming to our home.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. All right, so I've been talking to Reverend Mrs. Akosia Asamoah Opuni. And this woman you see over here is doing some amazing work here in the United States, specifically in the city of Columbus. And beyond that, she's extended her warm hands into Africa, Ghana, because she's from Ghana. She's now in Nigeria.